Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video today I'm going to show you how you can create space for your kick in your mix. So this is going to be a mixing tutorial and I'm going to show you a trick that I always use when I'm always mixing, and hopefully this can help you really to get your kick stand out instead of having to use sidechain on each and every track or each and every instrument that you have in your track. But the technique that we're going to use in this video is to just create buses for all the instruments that we have. So all the instruments that are in over here in this more purplish blue over here are the bass sounds. I've got my E flute and I've got my kick and other bass sounds are over here. And these sounds from here going all the way to there are my drums, and everything else that's outside that, all these instruments are every other instruments that is in there, like synths and other stuff as well. So what I want to do now is to select all my synths and select an extra track and just right click on it and go to track routing and create submix, and then I can just call this synths. So now I just routed all my sounds to go into this one channel. So let me just play that back so you can hear how it sounds like. If I solo, you can see that all my sounds are going into this channel. So what I'm going to be doing to this one track is just going to be affecting only these tracks that are over here, all my synth sounds, because that's the sounds that I know are going to be concentrated in the bass section, and that's the sounds that I want to give room for the kick. So I'm just going to mute the drums. So now you don't hear my other drums, but you can just hear my kick and all the other synth sounds. So I'm going to add an EQ to our synth bus. And as I play, you can see there's frequencies over here, and these are the frequencies that will kind of conflict with the kick. So these are the frequencies that we need to take down. Now, the normal person would usually just drop this EQ all the way down like this, but that's a problem because you're taking out some of the character out of all these sounds if you just do a hard shelf like that. So we don't want to do that. What we want to do, we just want to shelve it a little bit like that. Like maybe -7 decibels, just like that. And if you want to as well, if you feel like you have too much mid-range happening as well, you can just maybe drop down some of the mid-range as well here. If your kick has a lot of mid-range, just drop it down like that. So all your sounds can still have some really nice good character, but not really taking down all the sounds. Because one thing about EQing that I see a lot of beginners making a mistake of is they try and drop these EQs all the way down, like they want to cut everything out like all the way down, and that is wrong. You still want to leave some character for the sound, and that's what we're going to do here. We're just going to drop a little bit just so that our kick and our bass can live on this side of the sound. So now all these sounds, all these synth sounds are going to be leaving room for the kick to shine through. So you can also do this in your drum master as well. I'm just going to also add another EQ, and then I'm just going to add a shelf. Just like that, just to make sure that the kick still gets room. So obviously we don't want to do that to the bass sounds, because we want the bass sounds to still have that bass character in them. That's why we did not add them to these bus channels and do this to them, because obviously the bass sounds live exactly here in the bass section. So that's why we didn't do that. Let me just add some color here so that we can see this. So that's why I didn't do that to these, but you can actually add a sidechain to those to be to give them much more of a special treatment, so that whenever the kick is not playing, the bass can be free. So this also helps your bass actually stand out more out of your track throughout this tip. So I hope that that really helps you, because that's what I do when I'm mixing, and that's what the pros do as well, just to make room for the kick, because you're trying to create spaces within the frequency range for instruments to live in. And we know that our kicks and our basses, and specifically our kick, lives down here by the sub and the bass and the low mid section. So we just need to create space so that all these other instruments, when they're piled up, they're not taking too much space, and then your kick is going to be fighting just to stand out. And a lot of mixes have that problem, to have that kick translate. So if you're not gonna use sidechain, you can use this tip, but try not to use it on your bass sounds or your bass line or something like that. I would advise you to use a sidechain on your bass line, because it works more effectively. That's why I didn't add my bass sounds to this. So another trick I'm just going to give you before I go is, if you have all these buses selected, for you to ease your workflow, is that you can just dock them over here to the right, where you see I have my reverb and my delay, and it's very easy to do that. All you just have to do is right click and then say dock to. Let me just raise my mixer. You just right click on the channel and just say dock to, and dock to the right. So you can either dock to the right or the left. So I'm going to dock to the right, and then there, my synth master is now over to the right, and I'm going to dock my drum bus to the right again, and then now it's docked. So even if I move in my mixer, even if I move all the way up to 100, it stays here. So I can also do that for my kick as well, and I can just dock it to the right, so that if you're lost in your mixer when you're playing, you can find your buses. So that's what I like to do with my sends and my buses. I like to dock them so that they stay in one place. That's an extra bonus tip for you guys there. So order is key, and also just color coding your channels or your tracks in the mixer is also a good thing, because we also have coloring here. So you can see that I've colored all my basses with this blue color, and all my percussions as well in a different color. So you can choose any color that you want to use. It's all up to you to pick, to actually so that you can see and identify certain sounds. Here I just changed them to green, and I can just select all these other sounds like that, and then I can just change the color and maybe make them that yellow, so that you know what's what, in case maybe you might miss a sound or something like that. Just to create an order, you can do that, and then you can just make sure everything is nicely organized. If you're gonna send this project for someone to actually do a master or to mix even further, you can just give them a note of the color code, and adding notes to FL Studio is easy as well. You can just go to a slot like in your master and just add a note book. So let me just go here and add a note. There we go. Notebook. There we go. So you can just write it. You can just write there the color codes, so that whoever's mastering, whoever's mixing for you, can actually know what's really happening in your mix. So order is key. And also you can do the same in your playlist if you want to do that as well. I know I'm getting sidetracked here, but I think it's something that can really help. You can just add one color to your drums and one color to everything else. But I hope this really helps you guys. And if it does help you, drop me a like down below. And don't forget to share this video with other producers that will need this help, so that your music sounds right and your kicks really stand out. So don't forget, guys, when you're mixing, bussing is key. You need to make sure that you group all your instruments so you can add effects and control them effectively. So you can group your drums, you can group all your synths, and just make sure that you don't EQ too much to cut out the character of the synths and of the sound that you're trying to work on. Because as soon as you cut too much of a certain frequency, you're taking out a lot of the character that's supposed to be in there. That's why I just gave it a slight shelf, not too much, but just to make sure that the kick stands out. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll check you in my next video. I'm X, and I'm out. Peace.